Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. This is Business Connect. My name is Roy, and if this is your first time on our channel, here we do videos about life in China. We talk about how international students survive in China, how foreigners survive in China, business in China, and generally we just talk about how foreign expats live in China. So if this is your first time on our channel and you're interested to know about these things I've just mentioned, why not hit that subscription button so that each time we upload videos like this, YouTube will send you a notification and you'll be the first to watch our videos. Welcome back. So recently we've been talking about recent happenings in China. We talk about the positive things, we talk about the negative things. In fact, we just do an analysis of the situation because you cannot do an analysis of a situation if you don't look at both sides. Look at the side of the Chinese government, look at the side of the foreigners, look at the side of the Chinese people themselves. So generally we put everything together and we try to draw a balance. So in today's video, we'll be talking about why foreigners are recently living in China. Like recently, we've noticed that a lot of foreigners are living in China. But why? Some of them live by choice, some of them were forced out. But what is the reason? So I'd like you to understand that China has a population of 1.4 billion people. Yes, 1.4 billion, that's about 1/6 of the world's population. That's a great deal of people for the government to deal with. As we all know, China is not a developed country. China is still an underdeveloped country. So dealing with its own people in the first place and then foreigners on the other hand is not really an easy cake to bite for the government. But I'm not saying that this is the reason why they're chasing out foreigners or this is the reason why foreigners are leaving. No, this can just be part of the reason for us to understand that the country has a great deal already on their plate. So in this video, we'll be looking at different reasons why different foreigners leave China. Foreigners come to China with different objectives. Some people have 2 years objectives, some people have 3 years objective, 5 years objectives, 10 years objectives. And once you meet your objective, then what are you still doing in the country? You have to leave, because China is not a country where someone should plan to stay forever or maybe establish a permanent residence. Yeah, there are people who have established permanent residence in the country, but a very small population, a very insignificant number of the amount of foreigners in China are able to have this permanent residence. Also, before we go into the details of the video, I would like you to understand also one thing. I'm doing a lot of analysis like this so that once I start giving the points, you should see where I'm coming from. There are two categories of foreigners in China. We have teachers and other jobs. When I talk of teachers, I talk mainly English teachers and sometimes other subject teachers. And other jobs will have maybe technicians, engineers, maybe a few other professions, but very insignificant number, which means that about 70 to 80% of the population are foreign teachers. Okay, now let's go into the details of why foreigners leave China. The first reason, your contract has expired and maybe you had just a 2-year program or a 2-year plan to stay in China. What's the next thing you have to do? You have to leave the country. And in other situations, your contract has expired and you intend to stay longer. And because of the visa restrictions that are currently being introduced in several cities in China, your company is not able to renew your visa for 1 or 2 reasons. So the only option you have is to leave China. The second reason why some people decide to leave China is because no matter how long you stay in China, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you will always be seen as a foreigner. You will hardly get the green card. You will even never have the green card and be considered as a Chinese person. You will always be seen as a foreigner no matter how long you stay in China. So after being fed up with this Lawai thing, some people just get fed up and decide to leave the country. So these are some of the reasons why people get dissatisfied and decide to leave China. The third reason why foreigners are leaving China is due to the closing up of language centers and schools that were the major companies that employed a vast majority of foreigners. We know recently with the new law on foreign teachers and English tutoring, Most language centers have been closed. So when these centers are closed, the teachers will have no option than to leave China because there is no other thing they can do. They can't do other jobs. And even when you try to apply with your visa, just the fact that your visa shows that you are this category, category C, the company will tell you, we are very sorry, we cannot transfer your visa into another position. So you just have to leave the country. The fifth point is rising cost of living. Most major cities now in China like Shanghai, Beijing, Shenzhen, Guangzhou, Chongqing, and so on, they're experiencing higher and higher cost of living every day, from rents to bills, food. In fact, generally, the cost of living in China is increasing by the day. So when foreigners realize that they're not able to make as much as they usually make, losing their jobs, getting lower salaries, getting higher taxes, and putting all this together, they're finding themselves not wanted again in the country, and they're leaving either by choice or being forced to leave because of one or two visa policies. Some foreigners leave China due to stagnation, like seeing no progress in their lives, seeing no progress in their careers, seeing themselves working every day and seeing nothing that they're working for. So they ask themselves, but why should I continue to stay in a country where I see no progress in my career? So what's the only thing I have to do? To leave the country. Some foreigners leave China for better opportunities, for greener pastures. If you didn't know this, let me tell you. After staying in China for say 5-10 years, you've acquired the skills that most Chinese companies abroad are looking for. So now you will be very valuable for these Chinese companies in your country. So when foreigners stay for like 5-10 years, they are really valuable at that time. So they will be employed by these Chinese companies and taken back home. And some foreigners have stayed for 5-10 years and they think that they've raised enough capital maybe to go back home and start their own businesses, start their own companies. So not all foreigners leave China unsatisfied. Some foreigners, like a great majority, also leave China after being satisfied. After living for 5-10 years, they've raised enough money and they think, okay, enough is enough, this is time to leave, and they leave the country. Some foreigners, especially foreign students, leave China after being unsatisfied with the quality of education in China, which I think this is subjective because I think I've studied in China and I don't regret studying in China. I don't regret having my MBA in China because I have great plans for this certificate. But I think some foreigners, after studying in China maybe for 1-2 years, 3 years, they think they can't continue any longer because they're not seeing the fact that they are gaining any knowledge. So they're just dissatisfied with the educational system in China and they decide to leave, maybe study somewhere else in the world or maybe just go back home. And also some foreigners leave China after not being able to handle the environmental problems, especially air pollution. Yeah, air pollution. You will not imagine there are cities in China where just to see the next, that there are days that to see the next tower beside you or to see the next building beside you is usually not easy. For example, a city like Tianjin, people who live in Tianjin will testify with you that the air pollution in Tianjin is really, really bad. And some people who might not have very good health systems, maybe after a few years, they might discover, or maybe their health situation is getting bad and bad. And so they have no option than to maybe either leave to other cities, which is getting even more difficult now to transfer from different cities. So they have no option than to leave China, maybe to other countries or back to their countries. And also some foreigners leave China because of food quality and safety. Dealing with a population of 1.4 billion people, food safety is a concern. Like, you won't imagine what some people eat in restaurants as food. You know, people go through a lot of, hooks and crooks just to make food ready, just to manufacture things. And, at the end of the day, you see that it really affects your health. So after living in China and then going through all this, people just get dissatisfied with the food situation and find life easy in other countries and decide to leave China. So you see that your satisfaction staying in China will be determined by the objective first that you had before coming to China and the lifespan that you gave yourself, or the time limit that you gave yourself to stay in China. If you came to China with the objective of staying for 2 years, and after the 2 years you see that you've met that objective and you will leave satisfied. If you just came to China with no objective and having no plan, you will see that you will be easily dissatisfied because you have no plan, you have no objective. So maybe even after 10 years, you might still see that you have not achieved anything. And if you're leaving China after 10 years, you will leave unsatisfied. But if you came to China with a 2-year plan, with a 3-year plan, with a 5-year plan, after that 5 year, it is easy for you to do an evaluation to see, should I continue staying here or I should leave? So thank you so much for watching this video up to this end. If you find value in what I've said, or if you find value in our channel, don't leave the video without hitting that subscription button so that each time we do videos like this, you will be notified and you'll be the first to watch our videos. Until now, it's peace out. I'll see you in our next video. Bye bye.